Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Today I'll be talking about the 4 quadrants of identity. And, I drew here a diagram that could best summarize the human degrees or scales of the qualities of identity. So, hopefully you guys will enjoy this. So the first quadrant I want to talk about is going to be complete utter madness. It's a degree of consciousness and of disillusionment and identity that is so far away from normal and artist and enlightenment. This madness is a complete collapse of the identity. They no longer have an identity. Someone doesn't know who they are, and they have no desire to know who they are. They are the farthest away from home, so to speak. They're not truly in their body. They're truly not associated with their feelings. They're not associated with their thoughts. They're associated with the impulses that they get. And, I can't really speak too much on experience from this point, but this madness is a degree that other portions of the quadrant can touch. They can touch, and they can move to madness, but ultimately they are not stuck there. So someone who is mad, who is insane, and literally violent and all those things that indicate someone that is mad. Usually they're violent or abusive or something of the like. So an artist and a normal person can touch madness. They can briefly go there. They can become mad. And they don't stay there, though. Most of them, most normal people and most artists do not stay there. And this is just one extreme. It's a polarity. Madness is a polarity that is extreme. And I'll go into enlightenment, and that's on the other side of polarity, and that's also an extreme. Okay, so moving on, we have normal. Normal is a fixed identity. Someone that is a lawyer, a engineer, a doctor, somebody that is very non-fluid with their identity, someone that is just very identified with their particular place and role in society. Usually that's what normal people are. They associate who they are with what they do for a living, what kind of car and possessions they have. And mind you, I don't want to say there's no good, bad, right, or wrong about being normal. It's just this is a examination and an analysis based on the qualities of identity. And I know most of you guys will definitely see it as helpful. So I'm not trying to say that normal is bad or good in any way. I'm just making this available to you in a different context. So normal people, of course, have moments of insanity and flashes of insanity. And they also have moments of enlightenment and, pure bliss and joy. And as soon as they feel, enlightenment, as soon as they feel bliss, it's over for them. It's over for normal people because they go back into time. They go back into the past and future. And that's what enlightenment is a presence of now and a presence of bliss And to a normal person, it can only be touched briefly. Enlightenment to a normal person can only be visited there on weekends, for instance, on vacations, maybe after work. Those are part-time enlightenment people. Usually people that touch that more frequently, normal people, are much more positive. So but normal people can also descend into madness, and they can go into become insane and become not know who they are. And despite what they do for a living, if they get to a point that they're no longer associating themselves with what is real, so to speak, because as a normal person, they base everything off of what is real. They have conversations with their friends, they go to work, they eat. These three things that I mentioned are all real. And that's where the fixed position comes. It's all based on the mind. Like, the mind's done all those things before and it knows them, so the consciousness can assume itself and plug itself in and become kind of automatic in that way. It can become a substitute, a substitute caretaker for your consciousness. And I don't want to tell you that this is good, bad, right, or wrong. Being normal, it's just the way it is, and their identity is very very fixed. It's very stable, right? It's non-fluid and it's not moving. It only moves on certain certain moments where they go into madness and they get really angry or frustrated and maybe violent, right? And then there's moments where they reach enlightenment and bliss, and it's just momentary. So this is where the majority of people are now. And the normal, this can be a sinkhole. It can be a sinkhole of indifference. And in other videos, I talk about this. And it's a very dangerous place, because everything happens to you randomly. Everything is not deliberate. Everything happens, things happen to you, and not so much, life doesn't happen because of you when you're normal. You're not really choosing on a moment to moment basis on what you're feeling and how your attitude is. You're kind of basing your attitude and your feelings off of what occurs out in the world, right? On what's real, on what your friends say, on what you're eating, it makes you feel good, on what the real things that the normal people typically associate themselves with, because the real things are not imaginative. They're just things that they have experienced in the past. So for that reason, they are stuck in time. They're stuck in past and future, and that is extremely limiting. So normal people are in a dangerous place in that way, because occurrences happen to them randomly, and life is not deliberate. So they ultimately are in this victim role, and that's why they don't want to, because when they experience moments of bliss, some normal people, they contract, because they know that they're moving outside of their own identity. And when they have insane thoughts and of course they don't have tools or methods or techniques to ease those thoughts or ease those feelings, because normal people don't have that, they might get triggered, or they might descend outside of their fixed position and move outside on this scale, they slide to madness very rapidly, and they come back usually, but that's why normal people will contract and be silent and not talk and like shut down, because if they know that they're entering a place of extremes where they're actually, there's not so much a understanding of the polarities, like the polarity of madness and the polarity of enlightenment. Like there's kind of a lot of unexplored and unknown territory there. So normal people get really shaken up and really get disturbed by moments of bliss, or they kind of I'm not saying this, this is a generalization, guys, so don't take me literally, but like a lot of people will feel guilty for being blissful, or they will feel guilty for feeling good about themselves and like doing something that makes them love themselves. Of course, we're getting much better at understanding this, but normal people are ultimately scared of the extreme of life, and that's why they're in the middle. That's why they're in the middle here, and they slide back and forth, and that it's only momentarily, and they stay there as long as they want to stay there because life is up to you and your own free will. So it's not like if you're normal and you're watching this video, you can change. Change is love. Love is healing. So all the power to you. So moving on next, artists. This is the most fluid of the identities. Artists kind of don't know who they are either. They also slide to madness and enlightenment, but they slide much more rapidly and much more consistently than a normal person. So an artist is vibrating on a higher frequency, and they're changing and rapidly moving within their own consciousness, within their own thoughts, their own feelings, much more quickly. They're much more associated with with the next great blissful thing that they can do, but they can also go into madness, as some very famous artists and musicians, and those extraordinary kind of exceptional people in life. Those people that are famous and all that stuff, they do their identity is kind of, it's being approved by them through the public in a way, but they can become more normal too. Some artists, there's all types of various levels of artists. Some artists retire and go to a normal life where they're just working a day job and doing the normal things, and maybe not even working, but just like raising a family and doing all the normal things, right? And they could also go into madness where they go into this drug addiction, or all that stuff. So the artist is the most fluid identity again, and they are the quickest and most rapidly changing identity in this quadrant that I drew for you guys. And then the next one, the enlightenment. The enlightened person is completely out of time. Like, of course, there are moments where artists and normal people go here where there's no time. and it's completely blissful. There is no thoughts, and there is no desire really in that moment. But then you go back into thoughts, and you go back into like wanting things and desiring things. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with desiring. Like, desiring is what you have to go through. You have to desire, you have to want things and experience things so you can learn things. It's a very absolutely perfect process. It's an absolutely precise mechanism of consciousness that when you think, you desire things, and those things that you desire offer you learning opportunities for you to change your direction, to change your quality of consciousness, to change like your attitude, to change your beliefs. Most of all, right? They change your beliefs, guys. So go after your desires and figure out what beliefs you have, and kind of weed out and find the root of those negative beliefs that are preventing you from really just being happy, right? So, but when you reach enlightenment, there is no more striving. There is no more becoming. There is no more continuing to be, wanting to be somebody. Enlightened people, their identity is very at home. They know who they are. They're not as fixed as normal people, because normal people are still in the idea that time exists, that there's a past and future, and there of course, there is going to be another time for you that isn't here. There is going to be another present moment for you that is not now, like now, and then right now too, and then now too. These are also moments that are in the seeming future, but the only moment here right now, and it's eternal. The only thing, time is not infinite. Time is not eternal. Time is not forever. And now there is going to be an infinite moments of now. There's always going to be eternally a now moment. So enlightened people know this, and they reside here. They reside in this state of really no longer wanting to be someone other than who they are now. And this identity, this enlightened identity, this enlightened person is at a point where they have reached and gone through the desires that is necessary for them, and they learn through them, through reflective attitude, through a reflective mind. They reflected and learned on things that they desired, and they experienced, and they were really careful, and they were really sincere about what they're desiring, and like they're very precise in their consciousness. Enlightened people. So but usually when you're enlightened, you won't go back. You will not go back to the normal life. You will not go back to an artist. You will not go back to madness. You are going to be in the now for the rest of your human life that is current. And the same goes for madness. If you're so far into madness on this quadrant, it's much more difficult to make your way up and go back to a normal life and go back into enlightenment. So this polarity that we're playing on constantly is, the polarity of darkness and complete ignorance, complete shadow, complete darkness. That is this polarity. And then there's the enlightenment polarity, where there is complete fulfillment, joy, bliss, love for others, compassion, acceptance, gratitude. So that is kind of it, guys. And I hope that you guys please make comments and, ask questions and get the conversation going, because this is important stuff. So kind of figure out, tell me where you're at and tell me where you're kind of wanting to go in the comments, and that would be amazing. So, just know where you're at now and kind of know your relationship with desires. Desires are essential for us to learn and grow, and use your desires wisely, because they will happen to you. They will come true. And based on what happens or what comes to you because of your intention, because of the desire you have, that is going to teach you something, and that is going to bring you one step closer to the eternally and everlasting being in this moment. And that is right now. You don't have to do anything other than just be peaceful right here and right now, without any external realization or external devices. It's all here, it's all within you, it's all, this moment now has everything that you were built to have. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on another one.